And go.
Part 2. Barney the baker was a white blur behind his window. There was a whiff of bread baking. Nell turned her head toward the smell and drooled. "Come on, Nell," Jamie said. Hubble, the hen man, trundled his wheelbarrow along the footpath. His eggs were piled in it, all brown and white. "Good morning to you," Jamie said. "I see your hens are laying well." "It's the sweet corn and the sweet talk that I feed them," Hubble said. "Pick yourself an egg, Jamie." Jamie took a brown one off the top. It was still warm. "Happy St. Pat's," Jamie said, and lifted his hat. He put the egg safe in his pocket. Jamie and Nell walked under the arches that spanned the street. Jamie wet the end of the flute with spit like Kevin did. Then he blew on it, and oh, the sounds he made. He puffed his cheeks, and his fingers danced along the windholes. Nell howled and put her tail down. Silly Nell, what did she know? Mad old Mrs. Mulligan threw open her window and leaned out. "Save us all," she yelled. "It's the terrible noise you're making, Jamie Donovan," and she banged her window shut. The mad old Mrs. Mulligan, what did she know? Mrs. Mulligan's big red rooster cock-a-doodled from the roof. His wattle rattled, and Nell howled again. It was as good as a chorus to go with the music. Jamie was sorry that there was no one to hear but mad old Mrs. Mulligan. It was hard climbing up Acorn Hill with all of Jamie's breath going into the music. He'd better save his strength for the marching. He put the flute over his shoulder and stepped out. Mrs. Sims, of the halfway up sweet shop, leaned on her half door. "You're the early one," she said. "Come on in, Jamie. You likely could use some refreshment." Jamie's head came to the level of Mrs. Sims' counter. Bottles of ginger ale stood on it. When he looked through them, everything was orange. Mrs. Sims gave him a bottle for himself. She gave him a bun with a cherry on top, too. Nell let her tongue hang out and begged very nicely. Mrs. Sims threw her 2 jelly beans. Jamie ate his bun. He put the ginger ale bottle in his other pocket, the one that wasn't carrying the egg. "Here's a wee flag for you, too," Mrs. Sims said. "You can wave it later on at the parade." Jamie sniffed. Mrs. Sims was nice, but what did she know? Wasn't this the parade this very minute, and him in it? He took the flag anyway. "We'll have to be getting on, Mrs. Sims," he said. "We've a brave bit still to go." "Aye," Mrs. Sims said. "You'll be saving a good place for yourselves." "For the watching." Jamie nodded. "Come on now." The flute was getting awfully heavy on Jamie's shoulder. He held the flag out in front of him. It was a very small flag, but it felt heavy, too. "Don't be giving up now, Nell," Jamie puffed. "We're nearly there." They turned the sweep of Acorn Hill, and they were there. Jamie stopped. "Look, Nell." In front of them was the field where the bands would be and the stage for the Irish dancing. There was a green ribbon around the platform to keep the people off. Jamie crept under it. He sat right in the middle of the stage, and Nell laid beside him. The sun was coming up. Jamie took off the cap of his ginger ale and drank. He poured some of his hand for Nell. "And all of them were saying I was too small," he said. "But what do they know?" The sun jumped up like a firecracker from behind the mountain. "A happy St. Pat's to you, son," Jamie shouted. The words made a great shimmer of sound in the emptiness. Jamie pushed Nell's head from his knees and stood up. The last bit of ginger ale was gone from the bottle. He stuck the green and yellow flag in it, and then he put the bottle right in the middle of the stage. "See," he told Nell, "this means we were here first. We did it, no matter what they said. Now we can go home." It was easy going down Acorn Hill. There was nothing to it at all. The town was waking up. Some of the chimneys were smoking. The milk bottles had been let in, but Jamie's own house was still asleep. He opened the back door. The clock tick-tocked. The turf ashes lay in their white drifts. Jamie took off his mother's coat. He set Hubble's egg on the table. He climbed in the rocker, and Nell jumped beside him. He laid the flute across his knees and closed his eyes. Oh, the music he'd made. They'd not hear the likes of it all day, and wait until they saw the flag, the mystery of it all, and the wondering of where they'd be. There were feet coming down the stairs, but his eyes were too heavy to lift and look. "Och, it's our Jamie," Kevin's voice was soft. sound asleep, and with the sash and the flute and our dad's black hat. Are you sad now that you're not big enough to walk in the parade? Jamie kept his eyes closed and smiled. Silly Kevin, what did he know? I hope you'd enjoyed St. Patrick's Day in the morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day.